The Westminster honey trap affair is one of those rare scandals that manages to combine political folly, personal recklessness, and technological manipulation into a single sordid narrative. It's a story of misplaced trust, blurred boundaries between private and public life, and the corrosion of judgment in a political culture that should have known better. And at the centre of the case now, before the courts, stands Oliver Steadman, a 28-year-old former Labour councillor from Islington, and Steadman appeared at Westminster Magistrates Court charged with one count of blackmail and 5 communication offences, all linked to the extraordinary episode that rocked Westminster in late 2023 and early 2024. The allegations are grave, and prosecutors say he blackmailed the then Conservative MP William Ragg, demanding the telephone numbers of up to a dozen other political figures, and they also allege he sent unsolicited indecent images via WhatsApp to several men working within Parliament. The background is almost cinematic. Mr. Ragg, until then a respected Conservative backbencher known for his independence of mind, admitted in April 2024 that he'd shared private contact details of fellow MPs with a man he met on a dating app, reportedly after being manipulated and scared that compromising material could be used against him. For what began as flirtation spiralled into humiliation. He resigned the party whip and didn't stand for re-election. At the time, journalists described a pattern of messages sent to men in politics by people using aliases such as Charlie or Abby. The tone was friendly, even intimate, often referencing past conferences or political events, a clever exploitation of Westminster's insular world where late nights and hazy recollections of encounters are common. Before long, some victims received requests for explicit images, others were asked to pass on contacts. It was the digital age's version of the honey trap, weaponized through apps, speed, and data. The police investigation widened as more individuals came forward. Then, in June 2024, Steadman was arrested. He was suspended from the Labour Party, and a month later he resigned as a councillor. The Crown Prosecution Service Special Crime Division, headed by Malcolm McAfee, authorised charges of blackmail and misuse of communications network under the Theft Act 1968 and the Communications Act 2003. The offences are alleged to have taken place between October 2023 and March 2024, spanning the period of the so-called Westminster honey trap operation. Prosecutor Vincent Scully told the court the offences are linked, forming a coherent pattern of behaviour. Steadman, who appeared in a dark suit and spoke only to confirm his identity, was granted unconditional bail and is due to appear at Southwark Crown Court on the 1st of December. The charges are active and he is entitled to a fair trial, yet the implications for Westminster are already profound. The episode has laid bare several uncomfortable truths. First, it exposes the fragility of digital privacy in political life. The blend of loneliness, ambition, and technological overconfidence created a perfect storm. Politicians, particularly younger or isolated ones, are natural targets for manipulation in an era when professional and personal lives bleed together online. Second, it underscores a crisis of judgment and culture in Westminster. Too often, the pressure cooker environment of Parliament encourages hubris and emotional vulnerability in equal measure. What was once done in smoke-filled rooms now happens on encrypted apps, but the temptations and dangers remain unchanged. Third, it highlights the moral corrosion of opportunistic behaviour that cuts across party lines. The alleged perpetrator came from Labour, the key victim from the Conservatives. The scandal doesn't discriminate. It reminds us that Westminster, for all its ritual and formality, is still a deeply human ecosystem prey to vanity, secrecy, and fear. There are also institutional lessons. The Metropolitan Police and Scotland Yard have themselves faced embarrassment, notably when an officer inadvertently disclosed the names of alleged victims in an email error, later apologising and referring the breach to the Information Commissioner's office. The very authorities investigating the misuse of data ended up compromising it further, showing how easily privacy collapses once trust erodes. And as the case now moves to Crown Court, we should resist the temptation to treat it merely as tabloid drama. It is, in fact, a study in modern vulnerability. how digital intimacy can be weaponized, and how political figures, despite their status, can fall victim to blackmail with startling ease. It also reveals something unsettling about the current moral atmosphere of Westminster: the loss of caution, the ease with which reputations are bartered for fleeing validation, and the way private weaknesses can ripple into public scandal. When the full evidence is heard, the courts will determine guilt or innocence, but whatever the verdict, the honey trap affair has already delivered a powerful warning that in an age of surveillance, seduction, and screens, the boundaries between personal indiscretion and political disaster are thinner than ever. Westminster, in its vanity and its vulnerability, has been reminded of its humanity and its peril.